Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Mariam Al-Ani. I'm the president of the Students for the Ethical Treatment of Animal Club in AUB. Today's panel is a collaborative effort between our club, SETA, and AUB's Nature Conservation Center. We are joined here today by some of the leading organizations in animal welfare to discuss the current status of the field in Lebanon and their work. SETA is a student club with a mission to rescue sick and injured animals on AUB's campus, as well as rescue them and treat them back to health and rehabilitate their adoption, to rehabilitate them and facilitate their adoption, as well as raise awareness within AUB's population about animal welfare issues. As you may know, AUB has a very big and beloved cat population, and that population made the existence of a club like AUB necessary. It was established in 2019, and I myself have seen the impact of student efforts firsthand. I joined in my first year in 2022, and our work, our responsibilities, and the club in general has shifted greatly to address what was most pressing. When I first joined, what was most pressing was on-the-ground rescues. We had a small dedicated space, the cat clinic, under our control in the beginning, where we would redirect AUB cat rescues from off-campus vets. We would take them to this cat clinic. We would treat them back to health, whether that meant administering medicine, physical therapy sometimes, and then we would facilitate their adoption and rehabilitation with the help of volunteers, of course. And that was done under the provision of vets that we dealt with off campus. In 2024, AUB institutionalized this effort by adopting this facility into what is now known as the Animal Clinic. And now we thankfully have our very own AUB vet, Dr. Rana Abu Khalil. That official status alleviated many burdens from SETA, and we were able to steer into a more holistic approach to animal care and not just crisis control and rescue. Where you are today is one of our very first events to cement this shift in approach, where we hope to bring together different entities concerned with animal welfare, and to hopefully have a much farther reaching impact than just AUB. Today's panel will be moderated by Ms. Leila Ma'awad from the Nature Conservation Center, and we are joined by representatives from multiple animal welfare organizations. Please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker to the stage, Ms. Ghana Nahfawi.
Animal welfare. It's an honor to be speaking to you today at this event, the State of Animal Welfare in Lebanon. I commend the Students for Ethical Treatment of Animals SETA Club and the Nature Conservation Center at UB for organizing this important discussion. Lebanon, with its rich biodiversity. Hello, Alexa. Lebanon, with its rich biodiversity and cultural heritage, has a unique responsibility to protect its animal population. Today, we gather to shed light on the challenges and opportunities in animal welfare and to expose ways to improve the lives of animals in Lebanon. Grounding our work in law, ethics, and public awareness, we have built a movement that challenges weak legislation, confronts cultural traditions, and exposes violations through media. Our activism insists on accountability and demands a more compassionate future for animals in Lebanon and across the region. Our work confronts weak legislation, misinterpretations of religion, and practices that perpetuate cruelty. For me, enforcing law, ethics, and awareness are intertwined pillars in advancing animal rights. Law provides a foundation, but they are only effective if enforced. When institutions or individuals fail to uphold them, public awareness and pressure become crucial in pushing for change. Media plays a key role in shedding light on injustices, mobilizing public opinion, and holding violators accountable. Ethics, on the other hand, drive the movement informing our actions and advocacy. By educating the public and promoting empathy, we can shift norms and create a culture of compassion. Ultimately, it's a three-pronged approach, leveraging legal frameworks, raising awareness, and appealing to ethics to create a more just world for animals. As I have highlighted through my social media campaigns, animal abuse is alarmingly prevalent in Lebanon. Disturbing images and videos of cruelty towards animals have sparked outrage and calls for action. And despite the 2017 animal welfare law, many cases go unreported and perpetrators often go unpunished. But despite all obstacles, we maintain resilience by refusing to surrender. I believe every small victory, every life saved, and every shift in the mindset is worth the fight. And I have here a message to the municipalities. You must implement the TNVR program as per the national plan outlined by the Ministry of Agriculture and the Syndicate of Veterinary Doctors. Shelters and TNVR programs serve distinct purposes and aren't meant to coexist as interchangeable entities. In TNVR, shelters are temporary havens for post-operative care or permanent residences for dogs with special needs, such as seniors, those with disabilities, or hyperdogs that can't thrive on the streets. These shelters, not as being seen now in some municipalities, must prioritize hygiene, nutrition, and protection from elements such as the weather, etc. Municipalities should actively promote TNVR, spread awareness, and fiercely combat animal abuse and killing. Anything less makes them complicit in these crimes. Municipalities are the silent killers, perpetuating the cycle of violence. It's time for accountability and action. Our panel of experts will discuss key themes, including centralized versus decentralized animal welfare in crisis, and wildlife trafficking and entertainment. We'll hear from Bita Lebanon, Karma, and Lebanese Wildlife about their work, challenges, and recommendations. As we engage in this intellectual discussion, let's recognize the progress made, the work that remains, and the work that remains. We aim to raise awareness, share findings, and inspire collective action to improve animal welfare in Lebanon. And here I want to send the best regards to the Lebanese internal security forces who are doing a lot of work with us. They are responding when no one is responding. They are the main party that is really responding to our calls, our posts, and applying the law 47/2017. And here I want to thank Colonel Joseph Msalem, the head of the ISF Public Relations at the LabISF, for his continuous support and passion towards our case. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Rena. Good evening, everyone. My name is Leila Rostam Awad, and I'm a researcher at the Nature Conservation Center. I would like to first thank CETA, the Students for the Ethical Treatment for Animals, for organizing this event and bringing us all together. And also, I would like to thank the activist that never gets tired and speaks up for every single animal, no matter how big or small. Thank you again, Rena. Building on your opening remarks, my main takeaway is that, yes, animal welfare is in a dire state in Lebanon, and it's not a national priority. But there is a lot that can be done. There are so many individuals and so many organizations already doing an impact, and every single person here in this room and also online has a role to play. So this is why we're actually here. What we're going to do next is that we have a panel discussion, and as Rina mentioned, we have three main themes. So I'm going to invite our panelists to the stage, and then we'll take it from there. Can you help me please welcome Ms. Hélène Husseini, Vice President of Beta Lebanon. Ms. Silima Jaloul, who's a volunteer at Karima Shelter, and she came all the way from Tripoli. And Alexandria Youssef, co-founder, Vice President, and Executive Director of Lebanese Wildlife. We were also expecting people from Animals Lebanon and from Give Me a Paw, but unfortunately they had to cancel due to unforeseen circumstances. So I'm sure we're going to have their input also in future discussions. Reno, do you want to join us also for the panel? Okay, so I'm sure everyone here knows your organizations and what you do, basically. But it's good to have a quick refresher. So maybe we can have a quick round of introduction about your organization, some of your most impactful projects, or any piece of information that you would like to share with the audience in a minute or two. Can we do that? Yalla, we start with Beta.
Okay, I represent Beta, Beirut for the ethical treatment of animals.
Ellen, please use the mic.
Sorry. My name is Elena. I'm with Beta, Beirut for the ethical treatment of animals. I'm the vice president. I started with Beta May 17, 2006. I remember the date because I went to the summer festival at the Beirut horse track, where Beta had a small stand with Purina, and I was there just to help my sister, and I had my dog who just passed away. So I saw those little puppies, and I went to start talking, and I got hooked, and since then my whole life changed. So I became a volunteer, and then the 2006 war started. I became a board member. I'm, for the moment, the only person from the original board in Beta. We were the first dog shelter in Lebanon, and we are actually now the biggest dog shelter and the biggest shelter. We have almost 1,400 dogs. We have about 200 cats. We have 4 horses, 4 donkeys, soon 5. One of the donkey we rescued is pregnant. We have 2 monkeys. We have 46 tortoises. One of them is 60 years old. Unfortunately, our small rabbit passed away after 7 years. And that's it, and us. So we are a big shelter, but we are overcrowded. We try to rescue as much as we can, but unfortunately, the circumstances does not allow us to pick up every single animal, and we get insulted for that and judged, but we do what we can. We always take the extreme cases. We try to help. And when people want to adopt, if they want to adopt in an area where there are already shelters, we tell them to go to their local shelters. They get upset, but we have to encourage all the shelters in Lebanon, because now, before it was only Beta, but now we have in the Bekaa, in the south, in the north, in Mount Lebanon, you have everywhere. So people should know, and they should go and adopt from their local shelters. And we tried to educate. Unfortunately, we stopped in 2019 to go to schools and universities because of the circumstances, but we used to go, we used to receive students, the Scout du Liban, ACS, they used to come and volunteer, but for the moment it's suspended because we're not many. And to have volunteers from schools, we need, because of the amount of dogs we have, it's a liability to receive for the moment students, young students. And that's it.
My name is Rima. I'm a volunteer for Karma from 6 years. We are dedicated to rescue injured animals at street. We have a shelter. We have 400 dogs, 30 cats, and almost 16 chicken. Okay, 4 turtles. Okay. We rescue the dogs, the stray animals, and we found the new homes for them, adoption, and that's it.
Where is your shelter?
Tripoli. Yes.
Okay, so Lebanese Wildlife, we started as an initiative in 2018, and we registered as an NGO in 2020. Until now, we've rescued over 1,200 wild animals. That means we rescued them, rehabilitated them, and released them back into nature, which is the main program that we do. And we also work on 3 different other programs. The educational one, we go to schools, universities to raise awareness about wildlife. And we work with the ISF directly as well. We've done over 150 confiscations with them, tackling the pet trade and animal abuse. And we work on our R&D program, research and development, to try to close the data gaps that we have in Lebanon.
Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing this. You mentioned, all of you, so many numbers, which shows that you really did some impactful work. We're going to leave the audience questions till the very end, but I also see we have Her Excellency, Austrian Ambassador to Lebanon, in the audience, so thank you so much for joining us. So we're going to dive deep into our discussion with the first theme, which is centralized versus decentralized animal welfare. And we're going to start, of course, with BETA, the oldest organization in the field. So, Helena, have you seen any shifts throughout these 20-plus years in the government's involvement in animal welfare specifically?
In the government, not so much, except with the internal security forces. That's like she said. Before, when we used to call them, they used to make fun of us. We used sometimes, how do you say, les pompiers, Difa'al Madani, the civil defense forces, because we knew one of the guys there and he liked animals. So whenever we needed, we'll call him and they'll send when we had to rappel down a river or a well. When we have a dog that fell down 20 meters in the well, they will come. Because we knew someone, but if you call them like this, they never responded. Now they do. They do. The same with the police. Otherwise, also there is a change with the people. Before, when we had to cross a highway to rescue a dog, in our, it was really risky. People will honk, will insult us, never stop. Now people stop. They even come out of their car. They help. There is a shift in the mentality, but this is a double edge. It's double edged because more and more people want to have a dog, but they still consider, in most cases, as a commodity, not as part of the family. That's why when the war started, or when the crash, the economic crash happened, the first thing to go was the animals. And like in 2006, when the war started, we found some dogs abandoned, but it was mostly the stray dogs that we had to rescue. Now with the war, because so many people had pets and they left them behind, all the shelters everywhere are overwhelmed with house animals who cannot survive on the streets. And also, during the war, the civil defensive, they helped a lot under the bombs, and the Red Cross in the south, in the Bekaa, when we couldn't go they would go for us, they will get the animals for us, which never happened in 2006. So there is a shift. And even in the government, okay, when the new minister came, he had great ideas. He told us to come, we had a meeting, and that was it. After that, nobody answered the phone, so I don't know what's going to happen. So that's why we depend on ourselves and on our volunteers, because if we have to expect the government to help out, it's not going to happen. But we do ask the government to at least give orders to the municipalities to stop killing and to stop poisoning the animals, because it's not a solution. They've been doing it for dozens and dozens of years, nothing changed. So hopefully they will start waking up and do the spaying and neutering, which is the only valid solution.
Noted. I see you passed the mic already to Rima. Rima, your work has been a game changer in Tripoli, especially in introducing the TNVR program. So how would you describe the dynamic of your work with the municipality of Tripoli? Can you share any insights about this?
Okay, so from over 10 years, Karma Association has to work to prevent stray animals and to protect their rights. So instead of just feeding dogs, we choose to focus on the castration. So we choose to start castrate the stray dogs and return them to the street. Before the TVR program, we already castrated 150 dog at Mina area and almost 50 dog in Tripoli area. With the support of Municipality of Agriculture, after the program of TNVR, we pushed the Municipality of Mina to integrate with the program, and we make her build a small clinic in our shelter so that we can continue castrating the other dogs. So now we are castrated 260 dogs over 300. We still have 40 dogs that need to castrate, and we're still working on castrate them. Okay. We won't stop. We won't stop until the T5. The Union of Tripoli Municipality continue and castrate all the dogs of this union.
Noted. Now we're moving to wildlife with Alexandria. So would you say that when it comes to the conservation and preservation of wildlife species, your work is mostly centralized? Does it rely on the government, or is it the same as the others mentioned, or mostly decentralized?
I'm going to say that we've been very lucky as Lebanese wildlife to be working with Renault, because when it comes to some cases that we cannot alone reach, when it comes to confiscations or something that's illegally happening, one call from her gets everything done. So, and we've also been lucky with the Minister of Environment, Dr. Nasser Yassin, the past minister. Also, we could call him at 11 p.m. and he would send us the municipality. We've done so many confiscations with him. And right now with the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Nizar Hani have been amazing. He has recently made the decision to close the zoo, which was one of the most horrible zoos in Lebanon, and he took the decision to confiscate all the local wildlife for them to come into our care to be rehabilitated and released. There was also a recent confiscation of a hyena from Baalbek. These are areas that we never thought that we could actually reach. We have raided locations like Uzahi, the places where were once a red line that are now very easily accessible for us, which is, I know we're not, for numbers, it's not as high as what Betta or Amos Lebanon or Karma are dealing with. And we know that the law is not as easily applicable with these cases because it's so much. But when it comes to wildlife, it's a bit easier because it's very easy to make pressure on one case at a time. And also for the TNVR program, it benefits wildlife as well, because one of the major problems that we're having with the Arabian wolf, which is an endangered species in Lebanon, the one threat that is facing, it's the stray dogs and the overpopulation. So the TNVR is actually helping wildlife as well.
Congratulations on your small wins. I know you take it one case at a time, but it's big cases usually. Rino, we'll close this first theme with you. In your opening remarks, you mentioned the role of the internal security forces, and you said, and I quote, they respond often when no one else responds. Do you want to tell us a bit more about this?
Yes, well, I think that we are lucky enough indeed to have such people like Colonel Joseph Msalem. He is the head of the public relations. So what happens is that whenever there is an abuse or a violation, I simply post, but of course I inform him as well. Now, according to the case, if the case is enough for the LYSF to move, they simply move. He simply tells me that we're on it, and just tell me which NGO can help, for example, confiscate or take the animal in the case, I mean. Usually when it's a wildlife, for example, it's of course Alexandra. And whenever we have a lot of cases that we know that Beta, whenever we call for an injured dog, they are always ready, in spite that they are really under pressure. We all know that. All the NGOs are under pressure. For example, Lino, the case of the dog that was beaten in the beach, it's always a coordination between the post on the social media, the LabISF, the ministry in concern, if they can help or if they respond, and the NGO that's ready to take the case. So it's always a cycle. Now, that was not the case before. And this is really something that we are proud of. We have triggered into something. We made entities integrate so that we all join forces to save a life. And, but the gaps are still too many gaps. For example, till now, we cannot solve a case where there is a dog tied, for example, on the balcony. For example, if the dog is not being beaten, then it is not an abuse, although being tied is an abuse. And here is the law that we are really trying to amend, and we should amend, because these gaps are really making a lot of dogs, animals in general, suffer, such as this case. And in this case, for example, Colonel Msalem tells me, Ghina, this needs an NGO, a complaint. But even if the NGO file a lawsuit, sometimes the prosecutor cannot see that this is an abuse. He simply tells the owner of the dog, for example, you should improve his situation. This is not a solution. The dog should be simply confiscated from him, and he should be banned from getting any other soul. But this is not the case recently. So we still have a lot to do. We still have a lot of suffering, but we're working on it. We will not surrender. Thank you.
Well, if I can add one thing, is that the collaboration between NGOs have been also a huge game changer. And I want to give props to Elena and Batta for even before Lebanese Wildlife became an official NGO, and when you want to do a confiscation legally, they provided their lawyer to help us with some cases. For example, for a crocodile confiscation, if you remember. Yes. So, yeah, without the support of all the NGOs together, we cannot do the work that we're doing.
Can you elaborate more on this cooperation? Because I think that's really very important. With the other NGOs as well. Sorry, I interrupted this.
If we're talking for wildlife specifically, if Batta, even though they do have the expertise and the vets to help them with, but because they are sometimes overloaded with cases, if they find anything wildlife, the first thing that they do is they call us for help. If we are not available, they take the case on. They try to help as much as possible with the coordination of us. And as I said before, we were an NGO. We cannot legally go and file a complaint as an official NGO for confiscations. So they had to send their lawyer. The confiscation happens under their name, and then the animal is received by us.
And she knows better how to handle a crocodile. I did it once in 2007 from a pet shop not too far from here. And I can tell you, I almost lost my finger. So I'm gladly leaving my place to Alexandra. She knows how to. But yeah, we rescued many wildlife before. We rescued storks, a crocodile, the lion, Adam. Unfortunately, he passed away. He had a peritonitis. And but now Munir knows about. Where is he, Munir? Anyway, we know our limits. I mean, even though we wish we could, but we know our limits. When we can dispatch between us, it's better for the animals and it's better for us. And sometimes when they have some cases they cannot handle about dogs and stuff, they contact us. The same with animals. Lebanon, the same. I mean, it's a small country. And you have supporters that are supporting many of the NGOs. So we try to collaborate. Sometimes we do clash, of course. It's normal. But usually we try to resolve between us. And it's better for the animals. And hopefully it will get even better. The problem is many people are, we're finding less and less volunteers to do what we're doing, because what we're doing today with some of today's youth, it's almost impossible, because you have to do a lot of sacrifice. And you have also a problem with volunteers. Everybody has a problem with volunteers. Too many animals, too many responsibilities, and not enough. I mean, sometimes we have a volunteer, they come 1-2 times and then they disappear. When it's beach time, ski time, and it's a big problem for us, because some of our dogs are not socially, I mean, they're social, but we need more people to socialize with them. Because when they come young, and we have some dogs who came as puppies, and now they are 5, 6, 7 years. We have some dogs who died at 15, and they were 2 months old. They are friendly with dogs, friendly with us, but not socialized. And if we don't socialize an animal, it's difficult to find him a good home. So that's why we need volunteers.
We need consistency from volunteers.
Yeah. And I believe we have plenty of students here with us today, so there's a chance for them to connect with you after we finish as well, in case there are any volunteering opportunities. So I think we'll wrap up this first theme and then move to the second one, which is animal welfare in times of crises. And the reason why we decided to work on this theme is because Lebanon is stuck in a never-ending cycle of wars. So I'm going to start with Betta, with you, Elena. You mentioned in your first intervention that during wars, animals are the first to be left behind. Mm-hmm. And you've lived through the 2 main wars in Lebanon in 2006 and now here. Have you seen any changes in behavior, any cultural? No, none?
Well, yeah, no, I shouldn't say no. I shouldn't say no. This war, many people did prepare the paperwork for their dog to take them with them. But some managed to do so, others didn't manage because the airlines, only Middle East was flying, and so many times they couldn't take the animals because too many baggage and stuff, so the hold were full, so they had to leave them behind. That's one. And we got called from people crying, I did everything, but I can't take the dog. Please, can you keep the dog until we come back, or tell us where to keep the dogs? So, and even the vets will tell you they've never had that many people prepare the animals in case of a crisis to be a... Yeah. And they called us to have the information.
If I want to go there with my dog because it becomes worse, how do I do what papers? So we did posts for everybody to know which papers you know for each country and all this. And the first time that we have such a big, it's not big, but quite a big amount of people who tried to live with their animals.
Which didn't happen in 2006. It did not. In 2006, when the war started, we only had 80 dogs. It was 80 dogs, and we were in Galerie Semaan, so it was really bad. We managed to escape under the bombs. We went to Monteverde, which used to be a pig farm. We had to restore it, and we ended up with 300 dogs and 300 cats. An NGO from the States came and took 300 animals from us, 150 dogs, 149 cats. And then we ended up the first night when they came and they took the animal, they couldn't take the puppies and the one who were coughing or, the rest stayed. So in the morning when we came, the shelter, no barking, nothing. It was so calm. And we started again to rescue, and then we ended up with 600 and then 800, 900. Now it's 1,400. So it's a lot. This war, many people, of course, tried to take, and they took their animals. But because now we have more people, more pet guardians, so we had more dogs abandoned. And because also there are so many puppy mills, so many backyard breeders, and that's where the government has to do something and they don't do it. So many animals were abandoned. We tried, everybody, all the NGOs tried to help, and until today we get calls from small-sized dogs, Goldens, house dogs being abandoned, and they look like they've been on the streets for a while in the south, in the Becca, in the southern suburbs, and you can tell they were house pets. And now you see more and more coming out. I don't know. It's never ending. It's never ending. And people still buy because in the mentality they have to have a puppy because they have to teach him like they want. But people don't understand. You can teach a dog any age. And we never give a dog for adoption, a puppy for adoption for people who never had dogs. Never. Because it's hard work. So if you take a dog who is 2, 3, 4 years old, you can teach him anything, even more. So this mentality has to change. They all want to buy a puppy, pure breed. All breeds are great. A dog is a dog. It's full of love. It's an amazing animal. No, we have to change the mentality.
Thank you. I'm going to move to Alexandria just to see somehow the similar context in wildlife. Have you seen during wars more abuse, more trafficking, or on the contrary, more care and affection towards animals?
Unfortunately, it was two horrible things that happened during the war. One, it was either people letting go of their pets, whether it's a parrot or a snake or like hamsters, guinea pigs, everything that's exotic was left behind. And there's only two outcomes of this. It's either the animal dies because this is not its nature, or even worse, we got invasive species, which we're already struggling with. So we were begging people not to do that. We offered our own personal homes to take in some exotics, but unfortunately even our homes were in the targeted areas, so we had to limit that intake. At one point we were 150 meters away from one of the targeted areas, so it's a huge responsibility to take on other people's pets into our homes while we are at threat as well. So yeah, the main concern now, and what I think we will see in the near future, is even more invasive species showing up. People have released monkeys in the wild. We took one from AUB as well. There was a monkey loose in AUB that we took into our care. He's still with us. And we're sure so many more monkeys are out there. We know of a zoo that released 6 of his monkeys in Sur. So we might not be seeing them, but they are there, and yeah, it's going to be a disaster later on.
Okay. Rimo, moving to other kinds of crises aside from war, so we're talking about the COVID-19 pandemic, the economic downfall. How has this impacted your work as in Karma Shelter, and what strategies kept you going?
Okay. So, since this crisis, many pets in Lebanon are suffered, but especially in Tripoli, and for the lack of education from citizens and the lack of state responsibility, the owners found themselves that they are not able to feed their pets anymore. So we see that the pets are abandoned, and Karma take the initiative to found another houses or another homes for the dogs, and for the injured dogs at the street, especially the pets that became blind or paralyzed. We took them for our shelter to give them long-term therapy, and we start doing awareness program so that we can educate owners about the severity of letting pets. Okay, and now we are working on عم نجرب انه نعمل intervention animal assisted intervention بتريبولي لأول مرة كنا عم يصير in Lebanon.
We need more positive news. Rino, I'm going to pass this to you.
I want to say something about the crisis, the war during the war. We faced, first of all, we have to remember that we are in Lebanon and we should be facing this. I witnessed during the last war catastrophic cases. I cannot forget that a case that I would never forget, where birds were left to die in cages. And I think that was the most horrific thing to imagine, that these birds died not because the house was bombed. They died slowly, thirsty, hungry, and suffering. Well, look, I cannot really, since we really do not know where we are standing now. I really cannot. I don't know if I can ask from people who are on the borderlines, or maybe on the areas where they are risking bombing from, I don't know where, which country will bomb us soon. I don't know. But the issue is that, would you please stop currently raising pets or putting birds in cages, or I don't know, just try to know that we are all living in emergency status. And I really want to ask here the well, maybe also I'm dreaming that the cases where when there is a war should be treated as international emergency cases, especially the dogs that were abandoned. And I want to hear mention that social media played a big role in this by really calling out loud for dogs here, cats there, under the rubbles. And of course, we want here. I would want to thank Animals Lebanon for the efforts that were done during the war by rescuing. I don't know. I remember the number over 200 cat, I guess, from the rubbles in Dahi. And let's hope that there will be no war, because the only creatures that would suffer silently are the animals and the birds, of course.
Can I just say that we also have to give credit to the activists in the South during the war that happened, because they were the ones able to reach the animals before we would. So like Asim Haidar, he used to find foxes under the rubble. He used to bring them a little bit closer to us, and then we have to drive and get them. And Hassan Hamza, of course. So there's a lot of activists there that are doing God-sent work. Also the vets in that area that stayed their ground.
Fully agreed. There's so many people to acknowledge when it comes to animal welfare in Lebanon. I think that's it for the second theme. It didn't end on a very positive note, but we'll get there.
It did. There's a lot of activists doing the work.
So we're moving to our last theme, which is wildlife and trafficking and entertainment, which is basically your field, Alexandria, but we also hear from others. I'm going to start first with Helena. So you mentioned that you rescued storks and pelicans. Can you tell us a bit about the hunting of migratory birds specifically?
Lebanon, you know, you have a lot of hunters in Lebanon, and they're very proud. And with social media, they like to show off their prey and stuff. That's unfortunate. And along the years, we rescued a lot of red kite. He spent 6 weeks on my terrace until he was well, and we released him in the Shuf Reserve. Actually, we released in the Shuf Reserve many of those bird of prey throughout the years. They were always being hunted, being shot by hunters. The pelican, the same, the stork, the same. On his migration, it's always a nightmare for, But today, also, you have another organization for the birds of the migration. I forgot their name. And they're working closely with the police and the army, especially in Akkad and in the Bekaa, where you have the Amik wetlands. So for the moment, the last time we rescued a pelican, he was shot, and we went to Baye in the sea. We went on the boat, but we didn't jump in the water. It was the volunteer who called us. He jumped in the water to get it. And unfortunately, the pelican couldn't be saved. That's the work for the government to do. Unfortunately, we cannot go in front of a hunter and tell him stop. We cannot. We're an NGO. We're not allowed anyway. Hunting in Lebanon is a big problem because they don't respect the dates. And the problem also is a lot of the hunters are part of the police or the army or the political group. So they don't give they don't care. Sorry. They don't care. So that's unfortunate in Lebanon because it's always so amazing to see the migration. They always pass above my window, my terrace, and at 2:00 in the morning you hear them, you go outside. It's beautiful, but we rescued some foxes that were shot also before your time. It spent 2 weeks in my bathroom because we had to do the surgery of the hip. and she was released after where she was found. The smell is terrible of the pee. I couldn't use my bathroom for a long time. So, like I said, it's good to have many NGOs, many field, because we're a small country. So if everyone takes a branch of the animal kingdom, whatever, it's much easier on somebody else. And like the cooperation is very important. And I can use my bathroom now because Alexandra takes them.
Alexandra, I would like to hear more from you on wildlife trafficking. Are there any laws that prevent this practice in Lebanon? Are there international treaties that we're signatory of?
International, yes, but it means nothing if locally we're not implementing it. There's CITES, there's all sorts of conventions that Lebanon has signed that are not really implementing. So unfortunately, our work comes after that animal is trafficked in Lebanon. And unfortunately, some are going through the airport, not just through the borders. And as we understood from the minister last week, that they are doing some training for the officers, but we don't know how much they will fight the money to not let them enter. So unfortunately, our work is very limited to after the animal arrives here, but it's incredibly high, the amount of lions and tigers that are coming in the country. This is where Animals Lebanon come into the picture to confiscate. But even tracking those people that are trafficking that animal takes weeks, usually to weeks and weeks to locate. Now it takes days with Renault, but they have done one of the biggest trades on animal trades last week, I think, and. Unfortunately, animal traffickers are like mafias here. So it's not just one person. It's a chain of people that are doing this, and usually it's way more.
And nobody does anything because it's all about money.
It's always about money, everything, unfortunately. But last week something shifted because there was social media pressure, because they traced one person wanted to get out, so he started giving names, and we've seen the same in a raid that we did a couple of years back. You get one person and he starts spilling it on the others. Unfortunately, when we did that raid a couple of years back, the people actually were only stopped for 3 days, and no punishment was done. But even those 3 days got us so many threats, and we had to stay home for 3 days, not going out, because our lives were in danger. But seeing that they only stopped them for 3 days in jail was nothing really of major. So right now, I'm not sure. I think they're still in jail. So this is a first and good news for Lebanon. But we don't know how much this is gonna keep being regular, because we're gonna still see animals that are coming in, and I think because of what was done now, they're gonna do it in a smarter way, not post it on social media. So this is gonna be very unfortunate. But we have seen also the other side, where people are trafficking from Lebanon abroad, local wildlife, local species. In Lebanon, we have an endangered endemic snake. That's the Lebanon mountain viper. And we've seen people on social media and YouTubers coming to Lebanon, taking that snake from the wild and taking it abroad. And this is so heartbreaking, because for Lebanon, it's a snake. But it's endangered, it's endemic, and we need it in our environment. And it's not okay to see someone coming for social media views from outside and being able to pick up that snake from our mountains and posting it there. So
that doesn't exist anywhere else, right?
it's in the region, yes, but yeah, some people take it because they think they can use it for black magic, or even the hoopoe bird. So we have a couple of species here in our region that they see it as something beneficial outside for very stupid reasons. And yeah, we have people here that are making this easy for them to get them.
We actually have the hyena expert with us here in the audience, Dr. Munir Abi Said, but we're going to give you the floor towards the end. Something I noticed that's a recurring theme in your discussion is the role of social media. And Rina, this is your court. Can you imagine yourself without social media? Would you be able to make an impact still?
We wouldn't have met.
Well, in fact, social media is my weapon. And this same weapon, I'm always getting threats from exposing names, but I don't care. And to animal abusers, I say that even though, as now Alexa was saying, that maybe they would become smart a bit and not expose themselves on social media, no, I don't think so. Because they are never smart. They are, in a way, always have this passion to expose their hobby of obtaining these wild animals, illegal, just to say that we are so strong that we can expose on social media and no one will punish us. Now, this maybe have changed a bit, but I do believe that recently I was saying that we are the country of monkeys because we have so much monkeys. And recently there was one in Saida jumping on trees. Someone videotaped this and I sent it to someone I will not mention in the ministry. And he said, people are dying and now you're talking about a monkey jumping in Saida. This mentality should not exist upon officials. And I've made it to myself clear that if I encounter such a statement later on, I would mention the name who said that. I don't care. What we should do is that wild animals are they are precious. I do believe that the wild animals and wildlife in Lebanon is so very essential, just like life itself. And if we didn't preserve wild animals, our local wild animals, we will not be able to continue surviving. I do relate and I do combine our existence with them. So I do believe that the Ministry of Education should really have another issue about that. They should start changing how do they teach students from since they are kids. Otherwise, we cannot continue like that.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the role of the Ministry of Education. I saw that a few days ago in France, the Ministry of Education actually changed the curriculum and now they have animal welfare in their courses, even for young.
I sent that to Minister Rima Karami, but she doesn't answer. She's more important to answer people. She thinks herself over the people, and thus she didn't answer that. But I will keep on tagging her, and send messages and annoying her. So.
And we're also going to prepare a brief report after this event, so I'm sure the students will work on it. We'll make sure to add this.
If you want some positive news.
Yes, I insist on ending on a positive note.
There's a lot of schools that do reach out, that do want some programs about animal welfare, and they reach out to us instead of us reaching out to them, which is a great positive thing.
Well, it's not enough. I need more positive news. So I'm going to ask you, each one of you, to give us one recommendation that's forward-looking, that we need the audience here to leave home with. And it could be based on your lessons learned or something that you envision for the future. So maybe we start with Helena. Vision for the future. Or we have a future. Positive.
Sorry. The vision for the future, well, I just wish that all those puppy mills are closed, the pet shop are closed. And actually in the law, there is There is, you have some regulation, but they are never applied. And there is a regulation that people who have pets, they have to microchip and register their pets. Lately, some of the rescues had a microchip, Lebanese microchip, and they were never registered, so it's useless. They have to force people to have their animals spayed and neutered, even though many people are spaying and neutering now. When you go to the vet, you see many people with their animals taking appointment to spay and neuter their animal, which did not happen 10 years ago. They used to tell us, what? You're doing that, but it's against God. Let them have fun. So it's changing, but to help lower the overpopulation, spaying and neutering, microchipping, registering, if they want to have breeders, they have to register. They cannot breed more than once a year eventually. They cannot import so many animals, so many dogs and cats from abroad, especially Ukraine, even though there is war in Ukraine, the shipping did not stop. The problem is many of the people selling animals or having the puppy mills, and I'm not gonna have friends now, are the vets from the Ministry of Agriculture. So that's why, and I said it doesn't matter, because one of the reasons why there's still puppy mill, they're still selling animals, it's because of them. So, and they're the one who put the law for that. So as long as it doesn't change, we're still gonna have the problems of pets being, overbred or sold. There's a machine. There's a machine. Yeah, we have one at the shelter. Every animal comes to the shelter is scanned. And you go to buy it on Amazon. It's a small machine, you buy it on Amazon. It's easy. Usually it's on the left shoulder, but with time it can migrate, so you can check the whole body.
Finish the positive notes first, and then we'll open it for questions.
Okay. I hope if we will arrive for a day that we raise our awareness about the animals are not toys, are not trash. And if we can read more about One Health theory, مثلا, and if we can just think about use animals for a better things than. Okay, animals are more important than we can think. We can use them for many programs. They are good as co-therapists. They are important for the nature. I hope that every person or every citizen in our state can just know that.
Okay, I have a positive phrase for you. Okay, so I was talking about our numbers. We have done more than 1,200 rescues. Those animals were shot, poisoned, hit by a car or whatever. But at the same time, we had 100 and 200 plus people who have actually reported those animals. That means we have that number of people who actually cared. So we don't always look at the negatives. That positive, we have to look at and appreciate those people that are reporting those animals. So this is a very positive thing. I hope it's enough to cover all the negativity.
Well, believe it or not, I have something positive. Yeah. In fact, I have a special regards from Colonel Musallim. He was going to attend, but something happened and he couldn't. But he asked me to say that they are working on, prioritizing the animal welfare by putting forces just especially for animal abuse. And this would really be in the future, the near future, so that the members of the LBISF in the police station, for example, while, for example, running behind a robber or a murderer, they would stop that and go to help an animal in danger. This is really not suitable in the phase that we are living. So thus, they are recommending to have a special team for animal abuse cases. And one last thing, not really too positive, but something important, if I may say, it's about the FBI studies. And this is to animal abusers, especially for animal abusers, to those who underestimate animal abuse. They should really go to the FBI website and read the section about how did the FBI really made on 60 years study about people who used to be animal abusers when they were young and who had a black future. They were either serial killers or, for example, were involved in raping women or abusing their family members or even being in corrupt places or being corrupt themselves. So we have to make sure that we are not only caring for animals, we are only caring for our society. If we want really to have a better society, we should go and see why we have animal abusers, what is their background, and we should really have another approach, whether from the government or from the people or from the universities and the schools. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. I finally got my daily dose of positivity. I think these are the questions that I had prepared. Maybe we can take a few questions from the audience here, and also if someone can monitor the chat online in case there are any questions. Serge, just please make your questions short and clear so we can take as many as possible. Go ahead.
The crocodile that you rescued.
Not big. But it was in a small aquarium, so the tail was completely, yeah.
If they rescues in species like the minor bird.
We usually get reports the bird is either euthanized or put for adoption as a pet. Mostly it's euthanized. And I'm not ashamed of saying this because it's an invasive species that would do damage to our environment, and this is the most responsible thing to do.
What animal? I didn't hear.
The minor bird.
Oh.
Other questions?
That's the government official.
ما معنا وقت هلا.
Well, as Alexandra said, we do not have the time to list that many times. Yes, not only from abusers, but also from officials. Not direct threats, but camouflage, undercover. That maybe I should stop, maybe I should minimize the reports, or maybe do not post a lot. But all this makes me really post more and attack more, and I don't care.
As part of the improving economy in Lebanon, we're having more cosmetic Lebanese brands, and some of them say that they are cruelty-free. Are there regulations or any kind of monitoring to check that that's actually the case?
Are you addressing this question to anyone specific?
If anyone knows anything.
I have no clue. I didn't even know they have local. I'm not into cosmetics, so I don't know.
Cosmaline, I think it's called.
I have no clue.
I'm not affiliated.
No, I have no clue.
We'll be happy to have such things in Lebanon, but I'm really not sure that if that's correct or no, because based on the study, people are just slapping anything that they want just to make it sell more, like vegan, organic, and most of the times it's not really the case. But we want to be positive, and it might be. So let's hope so.
Please.
Thank you so much. And I have to say, I'm really impressed by the important work you're doing. I think it's important that you do this awareness raising. This is something, through social media or whatever. I think to raise awareness, to do education, I think these are really important issues to be a game changer. My question, in order to be short, is rather, the international cooperation. I think you mentioned that, many of the rescued animals, I'm talking, about pets, stray animals, there are so many in shelters now. I mean, each animal that is going out for adoption, would relieve the pressure within the shelters. Is there any possibility for increased international cooperation, let's say with other NGOs, just, to give animals for adoption? Because these animals have the advantage. Many of them have been once, or they had a home, so they have been socialized. So I think that would facilitate adoption. So if you could just tell me if there is any possibility to increase, this international cooperation in that. Thank you.
The problem, we started sending dogs and cats abroad, apart from 2006 when the best friends came and took, they rented a huge cargo plane. But we were the first to send dogs to Canada since 2007, and we were working with 3 animal organizations there. The same for the States. The problem when America closed their doors for 133 countries, Lebanon is one of them because of rabies and fake papers. Of course, everybody pays the price for one, and Canada followed. And usually those 2 countries take the big dogs and the mixed breed. That's why now in our shelter, the one who are traveling are usually the small sized dogs or the Goldens, everybody wants Goldens. But the big dog and the mixed breed, nobody wants them. In Europe, in France, they always want small dogs. In England, they do take big dogs, but it's difficult. We're working with 2 organizations in France, one in Holland. We still send some dogs in America if they have an owner. They have to have an owner, but it's a long process with the CDC. The problem is to find those organizations, because Europe, it takes 3 months for the dogs to be allowed to enter Europe after the titer test, the blood sampling dates. Many people do not want to wait that long. And we never send any dog directly to an adopter. It has to go through an NGO, because if it doesn't work out, we don't want the dog to end up in a kill shelter. It's difficult, it's doable, but don't forget also in Europe and in Canada, they have a problem with overpopulation in the shelters. For example, in France, the shelters in France are full of pit bulls, German shepherds, and Malinois. I never send a German Shepherd, Malinois, or Pit Bull to France because I don't want to take the place of a dog in a shelter there. It's not fair. We send the dogs who are going there are the dogs who don't exist in their shelters. We try to be, dogs are dogs wherever they are for us. So we don't want a dog to be euthanized because German Shepherd, because they took one from Lebanon and another one is. So we try to think about the animals, but also, like I said, the shelters are full everywhere. And it has to do also, After, with the pandemic, everybody took a dog. The shelters were empty, but then when they started to go back to work, they dumped the animals. It's a major problem everywhere. In Lebanon, more than, to be positive, Lebanon is not the worst country in the area for animals. Our neighbors in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Turkey, they killed how many thousands and millions, even though Turkey was supposed to be TNR, they have a food station and stuff. This is the coast, but the inside of the country, they slaughter the animals. Now look at Morocco. They're going to kill 3 million dogs because of the World Cup. So Lebanon is bad, but it's not so bad compared to others. So that's what we try to say. And people are evolving. Like you said, we get more call. People are seeing. People are calling to tell us that this is abuse. This guy is hitting his dog. They're filming. They're sending us videos. There is more awareness. But like you said, it has to start from kindergarten. And it has to be in the official program, because the private school, the people are, I'm not saying they're more educated, but they are more open because they travel and stuff they see. But the public schools, it's where you have to go. It's because they have to be once we went to a public school in 2010, it was somewhere here. And they told us to bring a cat, not a dog. They didn't want a dog in the school. You have to change the mentality. But it's changing slowly. Like we said in Italian, che va piano, va sano, va lontano. So hopefully it's going to keep moving forward. But yeah, it's difficult to get in touch with many NGOs.
I'm taking a look at the chat. We'll take your question in a few, Doctor. Just taking a quick look at the chat, there's lots of comments on the importance of education. There's lots of people agreeing to what you said. There were some questions, but you already addressed them. There's one that you haven't. It's from George, and it's to Rina. He's asking if you're planning to participate in the upcoming elections, because we need a voice for animals in the government.
I'm not sure. I don't know. No.
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure. I think that someday we should have a voice inside because of a major issue, which is making laws. Well, this is the parliament for. We have to make laws to protect animals, whether the most important, our wild animals, our local wild animals, and of course, the overall to fight abusers, to have really painful penalties and sanctions, and above all is that we have to punish the officials who do not implement the law. And this is what, if I ever had chance to be inside, maybe I would do that. I don't know. Thank you.
One final question, Doctor.
Hi, everyone. I'm Yasser Abu Nasser. I'm the director of Nature Conservation Center. First, I would like to thank our students, the SEPTA Club, for really organizing this, and it's really, really fantastic to have you with us. I would like to ask all of you one question. I mean, a place like Nature Conservation Center at AUB, what do you think because I was asking the question about collaboration. I wanted to see how much all the NGOs actually collaborate. But if a place like AUB, now we have a platform here, you're talking and we're discussing this. What else can we do more? How can we collaborate more to really get the word out? I'm an adopter. I have 4 cats now, my wife and I. We've had 3 dogs before. They all passed away. They're all adopted. We love doing this. What can we do? How could we bring more of these NGOs to work together? Remember, we're an academic institution. I think I leave the advocacy for you. But how can we support you? And in what way? Is it through research, through awareness, through education? I don't know. I would like to hear some suggestions that we could pick and maybe take it one step further.
The most important is awareness and education. We have to push people to adopt, have to push people to, okay, we cannot force people to love animal or to like animal, but we have to tell them, okay, you don't like them, but don't hurt them. Let them be. You want an animal, think about it. Don't, the problem is so many people, when it's a breed is in fashion, we get so many calls. I want a Labradoodle. Or when it was the Malinois, the dog, everybody wants a Malinois. You know how many Malinois we have at the shelter? It's not for everybody. The same for Chow Chow. At one point, it was so in to have a Chow Chow. The Chow Chow is not the best dog to have for the family. When they started to bite, they dumped them. So it has to be, do your research before you adopt. See if it's convenient. Sometimes they buy a husky when it was 20 below. Everybody wanted a husky. Husky now everywhere that you see on the street, so many huskies because they shed. They put them on the roof. They start barking or howling. You can hear a husky howl 10 miles around. So everybody complain. They either shoot the dog or dump the dog. So education, awareness, adoption, and spaying and neutering. Those are the 4 elements that are very important. And I'm talking only for, pets, dogs and cats. Those are the most important. Spaying, do research, think about it. And when you get a dog, it's like you get a dog or a cat. It's like you get a baby, a child. Your life, everything changes. If you want to travel, you have to think where you're going to put the animals. Now, today, you have a lot of boarding facilities in Lebanon, which is great. Before, you didn't have that. You board your dog. You have to think before you get, not, I got a dog, but now I can't. The kids are traveling. We cannot take care of the dog, or we change our furniture. It doesn't go with the furniture. Can I exchange it to a color that goes with the furniture? I swear to God, it happened. Seriously, we get some calls sometimes. It's ridiculous. It's educate. We have to educate. That's the most important. Education. It's the main. You have to educate. And if sometimes in the spring, we can organize at your very nice campus, Dog Day Adoption Day. We can have an adoption day and have many organizations to bring 5 or 6 dogs, all kind. They have their stands. They can have their leaflet, donation box. They can fill, you have the adoption form to fill. They cannot take the dog right away because, they have to be prepared. We have to do the home check, the whole thing. But yeah, you can have access, many NGOs. It can happen because you have a big reach.
Okay, so we have collaborated before. Because of how many migratory birds we got and how many viruses and bacteria that we are not aware of. AUB and CC were helping us with detecting some new viruses and so on. Right now, we're building the first wildlife hospital in Lebanon. And we officially secured the land, so it's in the process right now. And so one thing that we would like to see is more standards and more trainings, people to understand that rescuing wildlife is not rescuing domestics. And we have a lot of people who individually try to rescue wildlife, and they say, yeah, I have this experience with dogs, so I can rescue this jackal. It's completely different. Even NGOs that are opening, trying to rescue wildlife, even though we would love to remove some of that load from our shoulders, unfortunately, it's being done in the wrong way, making our work even more difficult. So as Lebanese Wildlife, we're members of the IWRC, the International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council, and I'm personally a certified wildlife rehabilitator. So we did not open this NGO just for the sake of we love animals. We opened it because we actually know what we are doing, and we have 8 vets on our team. And the lead vet is actually a wildlife vet. Because let's say if you go and break a foot, you do not go to a doctor for I don't know, a gynecologist. You go for someone who's specified or specialized in this domain. For the same for the animals, if you find an injured wildlife, you cannot take that animal to a normal vet, for domestic vet. You have to take him to a specialized vet to know what to do. This is something that we're really struggling with because we usually end up fixing other vets' problem or other NGOs' problems. So we would like to see that standardized everywhere across Lebanon, not just us doing the work properly, but everyone involved with wildlife doing it the proper way. And maybe this can be the platform here.
I would really have a suggestion that I don't know if the EUB, as a big institute, I would suggest that you could really make studies about how animal abuse is affecting society. And how is this related to each and every community or area where the animal abuse is more than other areas. I think we never had such a study. I do believe that this would help how to solve or how to approach the issue of animal abuse more in the base of a study among people who really are living with abusers and still are not considering it or maybe underestimating this. This is, I think, would really help us.
Dr. Munir Abi Said.
Hi, I'm Munir Abi Said. I'm a professor at Lebanese University, director of biodiversity management, and as well the director of the Animal Encounter. Indeed, I didn't see any negativity in their talks. It's the most positive thing that I've seen. At least people now that start to talk about animal welfare. This is really something very positive. And the more positive, Helen, you are included as well, that young generation are start to talk about this. When we started the Animal Encounter like 32 years ago, people, as you said, Alexandra Batet, people and Ghana, people just think, why you are talking about animals? Who cares about animals? We should talk about people and so on. However, persistence and stamina is very important to keep on. And it's very important that as well, I was introduced to people who I've never known before. I've been told about, except Helen, Helen, she's our partner, our friend as well. So it's really very important. And as Her Excellency said, and the others said, education is very important. Awareness is very important. And we know from our center, even though it's not a high standard center, but at least it's doing its mission, which is increasing awareness about the importance of wildlife, the rural environment. And you can see this, at least people now that start to talk about the importance of wildlife, wild animals, why should protect them, and so on. And I think we can, I'm so glad, I'm so optimistic that we'll be stepping down soon and give the young generation the role. Thank you all. Perfect.
Thank you, Dr. Munir. We'll take one last one, yellow. I can't say no.
Thank you. Bonsoir. Zainab, Karma's founder. Sorry, I couldn't join for personal reasons, but Rima did the job. I'm so proud of you, Rima. First, I want to talk about Karma as an NGO in the north, in an extreme area. Okay, few years ago we were working alone, but now we were talking about the collaboration that we are doing. Basically, I talk to Rina 3-5 times a day, and even animals, Lebanon, Beta, we are all, they are helping us a lot in the north. And Alexandra, you will have a call from me very soon for birds in the north. So you know about that. We will tell you soon. Okay, basically we're in a better place in the north. Okay, a few years ago it was a disaster. When we talk about animals, okay, please talk about the humans. You have many poor people. We still have poor people, unfortunately, but the animal Karma and other NGOs in the area, we are trying to make it better with awareness. At first, we thought that having a shelter is solving the problem, okay? So we have a really big shelter in Mina area near Tripoli. But now we are trying to go more to the TMVR program. So we are trying to castrate most of the dogs there and bring them back to the street where they belong. Okay, we have a blind, paralyzed dog. They will stay in the shelter, but we are trying to bring the ones they can live in the street back. And one thing I want to add a positive example. Actually, we have Lino. He traveled to Holland thanks to Rina and Animals Lebanon. And all of the volunteers who took care of them for months. We have example about Max. Max was an aggressive dog in the street of Mina. 10 years ago, we rescued him, and with the help with Pygmalion, our volunteer Jamil have this center for autistic kids. We trained Max. And he's been a volunteer. Max is a volunteer in an autistic center for 6 years now. So I will send you later pictures and videos how he was an aggressive dog in the street and now how he became a volunteer working with autistic kids. So I think it's a good positive to finish. Thank you all for everything.
Thank you, Zainab. I think we have plenty of food for thought to reflect on. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying this late. We know it's iftar time. It's already past it, actually. We have bites outside for those here in person, so we can mingle together. And those online, please don't hesitate to reach out to CETA, to NCC, to any of the organizations here. At any point, we would love to keep the discussions going beyond the event. Thank you again.